Last week we did a bug out video and we talked about a bare bones bug out bag that you could use to get to a known location. Very worst case, it could double as a camping backpack that you could take those items, go out and camp for the weekend, and have all your needs met. Now, I also mentioned that if that video were to receive 100,000 views, we'll continue that series. The video did not receive 100,000 views, but we're going to go ahead and give one more shot to try to boost those views, as well as this one right here. If this video here gets 100,000, we'll continue the series and go on from there. If not, we're going to go ahead and shift focus to something else and continue on that path. So today we want to talk about bug out shelters, something you need to lay under, lay on, or lay in. Now, before we get too far down the trail, the Etsy store is open, and once again, the Etsy store is open. We got 100 Corporal's Corner hybrid skillets dropping right now. That link is in my video description box. Grab them while you can. They'll last anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, and you're SOL till next week. Once again, we got 100 Corporal's Corner hybrid skillets in my Etsy store right now. That link is in my video description box. Get her done. Let's go ahead and clarify something right now about bugging out. We mentioned this last week, and a few people didn't get it. When you bug out, you're going to a known location. You've had the foresight to go to a spot and prepare that spot weeks, months, or years in advance, and you're trying to get to that known spot that's prepared. Someone left a comment saying, well, what if you're bugging out to the woods to live there long term? Well, the news flash is you're probably never going to live long term on a backpack in the woods by yourself. It's not going to happen. Most people nowadays, 99.99999%, cannot do that and wouldn't last more than a few months. You watch that TV show Alone, they got a backpack full of gear, and people last 55, 60, maybe 70 days, and when they finally let them go home, because they've outlasted everybody else, they look like a skeleton. So the chances of them bugging out till the middle of nowhere are slim to none. Is it possible? Yes, a lot of things are possible. But the reality is, most likely not possible for you or for me. So back to bugging out. We're bugging out to a known location. Now, depending on how long it takes to get to that location, determines the amount of time you're going to be in the woods moving towards that location. And that's where shelter comes into play. Now, we talked last week about a bare bones backpack kit. For the most part, everybody got that and understood the reasons behind that, and said, hey, worst case, I have a backpack that I can use to go camping and have all my essentials to meet my basic needs. So today we want to talk about shelter. Now, in my mind, there's 4 types of shelters that you would use bugging out. Personally, only 3 of those 4 are actually realistic. The first one is simply cowboy camping on the ground. I'm going to throw something down to get my body off that ground, to prevent conduction or the cold ground whisking the heat away from my body. I want to be off the ground. So a small foam pad to lay down, lay on it fully clothed, use my backpack for a pillow, lean back against a tree or a log, and simply rack out for a few hours. This way I can get up if I had to, put that mat away, put the backpack on, and I'm gone. And in my opinion, that is probably the fastest way to break down the camp and get out of there. Stuff and go, gone, right? So cowboy camping. The next would be some type of cowboy camping, but you add a tarp. Still, you have 2 items, a foam pad and a tarp. Stuff and go, right? More moving parts, but you can get out of there almost just as fast. The third option, some type of low profile tent. And we're talking about some type of bivy tent. You can go on Amazon or eBay, just type in bivy tent. And these things are going to be probably right around your knee height, maybe thigh height at most, probably about a good maybe 2 foot off the ground. Something that you could put in the bushes or behind trees or foliage. Climb inside there in case it rains. Again, throw a foam pad down, pull your backpack inside for a pillow, and crash out for a few hours. Get up. Hopefully there's only 1 or 2 moving parts with that bivy tent, and you can stuff it back into a sack and go. Last option, And the one that's the actual worst, in my opinion, is some type of hammock system. And I say a hammock system because at a minimum, a hammock is the hammock and 2 straps. So you have a 3-part system at a minimum. Add a tarp to that, 4-part system. Add a mosquito net with a tarp, 5-part system. If it's cold, under quilt or over quilt or both. It could be a 6 or 7-part system, which takes up more room in your backpack. Now, I made this comment last week that your shelter system is the bulk of your kit. And somebody fired back that I was wrong and that food and water is the bulk of your kit. Well, back to what I said. If it takes me 1 day to get to my bug out location on foot, I'm going to need 1 day of food. Food's about that big. The bulk, I never said in weight, the bulk, meaning in size, will always be a shelter system, whether that be a poncho liner, a wool blanket, a foam pad. All of that stuff is larger than that 2-quart water bottle. It's larger than an MRE. So the bulk in size will always be a shelter. Weight, it could be water, depending on how much you're carrying. But then it could be a shelter if you're carrying a 7-part series, as in a hammock, like we just talked about. So we're going to do away with hammocks today. In my opinion, the only true way to have a stealth hammock would be to dig in the ground 2 or 3 feet, the length of that hammock, so that when you have your 2 trees and suspension straps, they could be basically on the ground. You are now below ground with a low profile shelter or tarp over top of that. And that'd be the only true way to have a hammock. But then now you're digging out in the woods, making all kinds of noise. So to each their own, but if you need a hammock and a 7-part system to bug out, more power to you. And to further prove my point, here is our 1/2-inch thick Thermarest Z-Lite foam pad and our 2-quart water container. This is larger than this. So again, this is just the foam pad, not including the poncho liner that's inside the backpack, or a queen-size wool blanket that you would add to it, or some type of tarp system, etc., etc. The bulk of every kit is going to be a shelter system. So if the bulk of every kit is your shelter system, then the weight could be your food and water, depending on how many days you're out there, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Hypothetically, we're moving across this terrain to our known bug out location. It's going to take 2 days to get there. We're going to go ahead and bed down for the night. Do I want to lay down right here in the open where there's no cover at all? Probably not. Because if I can see half a mile that way, or that way, or that way, somebody on the other side of that half mile can see a half mile over on this side, or that side. Make sense? If you can see them, they can see you. So it's always good to camp off the beaten path, so to speak. Looking over here, the terrain gradually descends. Now I went ahead and moved about 20 yards closer to the tree line, and I'll take the camera over here and show you in a minute. The features in terrain that I can see right now, I couldn't see over there. So being off the beaten path, if someone were to walk right by here and continue on, they're not going to see you down over there. That's why you want a low profile stealth shelter or simply cowboy camp on the ground. So let me grab the camera and I'll show you exactly what we're talking about. I'm standing up on top there. Here's what you couldn't see. There's plenty of trees in here, fallen trees that you could sleep behind or next to. Continuing to pan down, there's a nice small flat spot right there for a small bivvy or bedroll, or even a low profile stealth shelter. But again, you won't know about this unless you actually come down here and look. I'm going to utilize this log right here to simply take off our backpack, place it right there. I can lay next to this, put the foam pad there, put the foam pad right here, drape it over that log, and simply use the log as a backrest or even a pillow. Again, you want something simple. Flip this thing over, drape it over just like that. So using that log in conjunction with this 1/2-inch foam pad, I now have a backrest. I can sit here, plot my next move, relax a little bit, and get some water, hydrate, maybe eat some chow. Think about plan A, B, C, and D. Worst case, I want to get some shut-eye for a little bit, and then continue moving at night to try and get there quicker than waiting all the way till morning time. I can simply use the log, if you planned it properly, and it's the right height, you can actually use this for a pillow. Prop your shoulder right against that log. Get you all in a few. Now, let's go ahead and talk about reality. In my opinion, this is the fastest, easiest, most legit way to travel. Get a couple hours sleep, stuff this away on top of that pack, take seconds, throw the pack on, and you're gone, right? If I were to get compromised, I can be gone in 30 seconds or less. Perfect. What's the downside? Again, reality. Climate, time of year, where do you live? If I'm living somewhere up in the mountains and it's got, a foot of snow on the ground, or it's going to be raining all day, can I lay out in the rain like this? No. I'm going to need something else, like a tarp or a tent. That's more moving parts, things like that. So during the summertime, when it's 95 degrees outside and 85 degrees at night, can you do something like this? Yes, you can. And honestly, you should. That way you can just keep moving. But again, where do you live at? You got to factor all these things in when you build your kit. We talked about that briefly in last week's video. That's why I gave you a bare bones kit that you can add to. So with that, let's go ahead and add a tarp to something like this and go for a low profile stealth shelter using a tarp or poncho. So I'm not going to get too detailed in this. We have a loop at the end of a line. It could be a bowline, it could be an overhand knot. All we're going to do is we're going to go around the tree, no higher than my knee. About right here. And then we're going to place a piece inside that loop and pull it tight. Take our military poncho. It could be a tarp as well. We talked about the versatility of a poncho. We're going to place that between our two trees. We're going to run a ridge line from here to here around the height of our knees. That way we're having a low profile stealth A-frame shelter, and then simply stake out the ends there and here. Another beauty of a poncho is you have a center grommet. And you can take that center grommet and your ridge line and simply take a bite of that ridge line, place it through that grommet hole, and secure it off with a toggle. Then simply just pull it tight, and then do the exact same thing to the other side. We'll tie this off with an improvised trucker's hitch. Just simply Google Corporal's Corner trucker's hitch. You'll see tons of videos pop up. And we'll tighten this off. And when we pull it, tighter it's going to be. Then we'll go ahead and pinch it, drop it over, pull it through towards my hand. Locks off, just like that. So from here, we're low profile. We want to get this foam pad inside here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that accordion style to my advantage. And this is about as low profile as it's going to get, boys and girls. So I have the option of sleeping on my stomach. I have the option of turning on my side or on my back. There's still room in here for my backpack. I can actually use that to block the entrance if I had to prevent any water or rain coming inside here. And all in all, we're still cowboy camping, just with a low profile tarp or poncho. So we have two moving parts: the pad and the tarp itself or poncho itself. All right, last but not least, some type of tent. Now this could be a tent of your choice. It could be a gigantic dome tent that sleeps 8 people. Keep in mind, whatever you bring, you got to carry it. So to be light as possible, mobile as possible, I say, in my opinion, keep it to some type of bivy tent. Those things run thigh high and the length of your body. big enough for you to get in there, get a pad inside there, toss your pack inside there, zip it up. You're out of the rain, out of the wind, out of the sleet, out of the snow, etc., etc. And if you had to get up real quick, you could just wad it up, toss it into a backpack, and go. So let's head up top and set up an example of a bivy tent. If you have no idea what that is, just simply YouTube search bivy tent or go to Google, type that in, go to Amazon, go to eBay. You're going to find probably 25 or 30 of these to pick from. My opinion, I have no idea which one's better than the other. There's cheap ones that run 35, 40 bucks, and I've seen ones that are 300 bucks. Now this one still happens to have a built-in mosquito net, which is always a plus. Especially on humid days like this, I can just open that up, use my mosquito net, and guaranteed no bugs are going to get inside. Starts to rain, we can go ahead and zip it back up. So anything like this or resembles something like this will do just fine. All right, so option 4, hammock. Now I'm not dissing hammocks, I own 3 of them. One of them I own since the beginning of my days on YouTube, and we'll break that thing out here in a few weeks and try it out. But my opinion, if you're on foot because your vehicle broke down or whatever happened to you, you're on foot and you have 2-3 days to hike, you know, say 20 miles a day or 15 miles a day or even 12 miles a day, you know, carrying an over quilt during the wintertime, an under quilt, mosquito nets during the summertime, you know, a big tarp set up, at least probably a 3x3, you know, DD tarp or some type of 12x12, at a very minimum an 8x8, because when you turn it diagonal it's about 12 feet. So carrying all that stuff with you just for the night, and then risk being seen, risk, you know, somebody seeing that off in the distance, and if you had to bail, trying to get all that stuff packaged back up and get out of there, it becomes monotonous. And what I found is most people that talk a big game about hammocks, they got them in their vehicles, you know, they're hiking maybe 1 mile, they're in a side-by-side, or worst case, they have their gear being dropped off to them. In that case, you know, hammocks are great. But the reality is, you know, if you're on foot, bugging out to a known location, you're probably going to want a cowboy camp. Get up as early as possible, or while it's still dark, under the cover of darkness, to get where you need to be. So, all 4 of these options depends on one thing. Your choice. So, I'm just here to offer suggestions. And depending on how the world is, depending on what's going down in your area, or what's going on at the location you're trying to get to, that, along with your personal preference, should determine what you're going to carry. So pick your poison and then enjoy it. All right, one last thing before we go. Survival Mastery Online. We haven't gone anywhere. We're still here. We currently filmed, I want to say, 5 more videos. They're dropping every 3 weeks. We have Corey Hawk showing you how to make a bow. We have Kyle Gehagen taking you step by step through a bladesmithing course. We just filmed a water purification class as well. It's going to be a series, and there's more great things to come. That, in addition with the other ones that are up, gives you 1 solid drop a month. We're going to increase that to 1 drop every 3 weeks. So take advantage of the summer rates. We've dropped them immensely. Use this code right here, Sean2025. Once again, Sean2025. That link is in my video description box. Check it out. Become a member now. Lock in that savings and get information that you're not going to get on YouTube. None of this is going to filter down to YouTube. We're creating our own community, and we want you to be part of it. So on that note, once again, use this code Sean2025, and that link is in my video description box. On that note, as I stated last week, if this video bumps the other video to 100K and we get 100K on this, we're going to continue this series. I have probably 7 or 8 videos. We're actually going to go out in the woods and get things done. And some are going to say, well, you should do it anyway. Well, I should, but the reality is if it's not paying the bills, we're not going to do it. We'll shift focus over to something else. And, That way you're not going to get bored. So let me know what you want. Drop a comment in the comment section and do us all a favor. Show YouTube that you want Corporal's Corner. Let's go ahead and get both videos to 100K and continue this series. There's a lot of things I haven't talked about on my channel in the past 15 years that I'm going to. Firearms included. So let's go ahead and share these videos with everyone, everywhere, and get them both to 100K. On that note, let's go ahead and get out of here. With that, all the gear in my videos can be found in two places. One, my Amazon affiliate page, and two, my Etsy store. Both links are found inside my video description box. Now, please do me that favor. Hit that like and subscribe button, then ring that notification bell. Once you ring that bell, please select all notifications. And as always, thank you for your comments, views, and support. Thanks for watching. Get out in the field, have some fun. I'm going to catch you next time.